So something I wanted to do was write down all my possibilities of P, which are right here, all my possibilities of Q, which are right there. The great thing is whenever Q is 1, there is no fraction, so you don't have to worry about it. Then I wrote down the coefficients, and now I'm going to start trying numbers. Honestly, I don't know what number is going to work. I didn't look before. I also actually, let me go back and see, can I do this by grouping? Well, I know if I tried to group it, it wouldn't work. So I have no choice and I have to PQ. So I'm going to try the number 3 first. And the reason I'm picking 3 is because I see a 9 and a 27 and they both divide by 3. Bring down the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, minus 9 is negative 6. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18, plus 27 is 9. 3 times 9 is 27, minus 27, it's gone. Cool, I got one of the roots. I have one of the factors. I started with 3, I figured out 1, now I have 2 left. So I have an option. I'm always going to show you how to factor if you can. If I'm left with the 1, the negative 6, and the 9, that's x squared minus 6x plus 9. So I could factor that as x minus 3, x minus 3. So I know the other 2 roots are a 3 and a 3, which means I'm writing that 3 times. So if I know how to factor, I would technically be done. And I'm going to show you in a minute why this isn't the right answer. But let's say I didn't know how to factor. Now I look, and this is my new value of P. So that means I know that 27 is out, and I can try other numbers. We're going to cheat a little bit. We know 3 works again. Because remember when we used to do this, and when you had the x minus 3 squared, it was in factored form. I said this was your bounce. That means it's really x minus 3 2 times. That's when you would go to the 3 and you would bounce. So you can have the same root 2 times. And if you have it 2 times, that's what your bounce is, which is why 3 is still possible. Bring down, now don't look at the blue, look at the black. Bring down the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, minus 6 is negative 3. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Boom, there's another factor, which matched up with my second one. Now, I had 3, I found 2, I'm left with 1. So if I want to, I could rewrite this as 1x minus 3, then set that equal to 0, add 3, x equals 3, get the other one. If I didn't know how to do that, I could go, okay, let's try 3. And this is why you don't want to go back to blue, because you might have 20,000 3s. This way you know how many 3s you actually have because you're simplifying. So bring down the 1 and it works. Now, I've told you before, don't write the same number 3 times. So what you're going to do is you're going to write 3, and then you're going to write MLULT 3, which means you have a 3, but a multiplicity of 3, which means you have 3 values of it. And you're not going to write x minus 3 3 times. You're going to write x minus 3 cubed, and then equals 0. Okay? All right, let's try the next one. Assuming you can't factor it. 1, 0, negative 26, 0, 25. You can factor it, so if you want to do it that way, that's fine. If you want to practice, that's fine. This is your P, this is your Q. P plus or minus 1, plus or minus 5, plus or minus 25. I'm going to try 1 first. Bring down the 1. 1 times 1 plus 0. 1 times 1 minus 26. 1 times negative 25. 1 times negative 25 plus 25. Woohoo! It works. So now I know one of my roots in factored form. I had 4. I found 1. I have 3 left. Okay? So now I'm going to try another number. I'll try negative 1. Bring down the 1. Negative 1 times 1. Negative 1 plus 1. 0. Negative 1 times 0 minus 25. Negative 25. Negative 1 times negative 25 minus 25. Woohoo! I found another root. I can write that out. I had 4. I found 2. I have 2 left. And you know what? Let me back up a little bit, because I actually could have factored this one by grouping, which would be, so if I didn't do that, I could factor this by grouping. X cubed plus x squared minus 25x minus 25. And I'm just going to show you the factor by grouping. and then you get x squared minus 25, x plus 1. And there's my negative 1 that we just found. And if you set this one equal to 0, add 25, square root, plus or minus 5, you would be done. This one, you could also stop now and factor. If I have 4, I got 2, I have 2 left. So I'd be left with x squared minus 25. You set that equal to 0. So I had to pause it for a second. So I had 4. I found 2 of them. That means I have 2 left. This is x squared plus 0x, don't need the 0x, minus 25, which I brought down here. And now I can write it as x minus 5, x plus 5. There's my 5 and my negative 5 I would have gotten here. If you didn't see that, you can try numbers. So try 5, which we know works. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 0 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25, minus 25 is 0. I got the third one. And then I'm going to write it as x minus 5. I got 3, I had 4, I need one more. We know the other one's negative 5. 1 slash equals 0. Okay? Now what I want to show you is how you could have done this problem without doing the PQ at all and gone straight to factoring. So I'll show you that on this paper. So x to the 4th minus 26x squared plus 25. This reminds me of x squared minus 26x plus 25. Two numbers that multiply to get 25 and add to 26 are 25 and 1. But since it's got to be to the 4th power, these have to be x squared because x squared and x squared make x to the 4th. Then this is square root, square root. This is square root, square root. And that gives me 5, negative 5, 1, and negative 5. Let me move that up. So theirs would be my answers. If you can factor, I suggest not doing the PQ, but maybe you just start with the PQ because you don't see that, but then you're good at factor by grouping. Well, if you're not good at what I showed you and you're good at factor by grouping, you'll be fine. If you're not good at what I showed you and you're not good at factor by grouping, hopefully you're good at last unit, which is squared. If you're not good at that, you have the PQ. You always have that as a backup. All right, the next one. The next one is, the problem is it doesn't say equals 0. So I have to subtract 24, and now it'll say equals 0. So 1, 3, negative 10, negative 24. That's just extra. My P, my Q, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 6, plus or minus 8, plus or minus 12, plus or minus 24. You will have a question that I'm going to ask for all the values of P and Q, and if you don't give them all to me, you'll lose a point. Okay? I'm going to try 3 just because it's in there. Bring down the 1, 3 times 1 plus 3, 3 times 6, 18. Ooh, I got lucky. Yay for me. Okay? And the reason I picked a 3 is because 3 goes into 24. The next number I would have picked would have been 2 because 2 goes into 10 and 24. So then 3 times 8 is 24, minus 24, gone. I got one of the roots. Yay for me on the first shot. Now, there were 3. I found 1. There's 2 left. At this point, if I can factor, I can rewrite this as x squared plus 6x plus 8. Two numbers that multiply to get 8, add to 6 are 4 and 2. So my numbers are negative 4 and negative 2. I'd be out. If you didn't see that, and you need to still do the PQ, my new value of P is 8, which means anything bigger than 8 is out. 6 doesn't go into it. 3 doesn't go into it. I'm going to cheat a little bit because I know the answers. Let's do negative 2. Bring down the 1. Negative 2 times 1 plus 6. Boom. I got another value. Oops. I shouldn't have put that parentheses. And then x plus 2. I have 2 roots. I need 3, so I still need 1 more. At this point, I could rewrite this as x, 1x plus 4. Set that equal to 0, minus 4 minus 4, x equals negative 4. If I didn't know that, so let me show the work. I could just hope negative 4 works, and I know it does. Boom. I got all the zeros. Equals 0. Let me show that. Okay. One more. It's got to say equals 0, so that's I've got to add 14x. The problem is it is not in standard form, so I have to put it in standard form. 1, negative 7, 14, negative 6. Possibilities plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 6. Okay. I'm going to try 2 just because 14 and 6 both divisible by 2. I might not get lucky this time. 2 times 1 is 2, minus 7, negative 5. 2 times negative 5, negative 10. Plus 14 is 4. Nope, doesn't work. Negative 2, bring down the 1. Negative 2, negative 9, 18. I know that's not going to work. So 2 and negative 2 are out. Let's try 1. 1, negative 6. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. 8. Nope, that doesn't work. Negative 1. 1. Negative 1. Negative 8. 8 plus 14. That's going to be too big. So now I'm going to try 3. By the way, I already know that this isn't factored by grouping. Bring down the 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Minus 7 is negative 4. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Plus 14 is 2. Woohoo! Whew, I was worried it wasn't going to work. So I found one of the roots, and I can write it in factored form. Now, I know there's 2 left. Remember how I said sometimes you can't factor? I'm telling you right now, you'll try all the rest of those numbers and they're not going to work. So what you're going to have to do is the quadratic formula. So I'm going to pause it really quick, ... while I do the quadratic formula on the other page. So I did that, then I simplified this and got rad 8, which turns into 2 rad 2. Then I brought, so here's the 2 rad 2, and then I brought down the 4, and I brought down the 8, divide by 2, and I get 2 plus or minus rad 2 over 4, and then I'll use my calculator to get the answer. So right now, honestly, I'm okay with you leaving it as 2 plus or minus rad 2 over 4. Because I don't know if it's going to be in the calculator section or not. Now, when it says write it in factored form, it's only what you could factor. I couldn't factor that, so I'd leave it like that, and then I'd write equals 0. Okay? So let me just show, go back up, make sure you can see all of the answers. And hopefully this is good practice for factoring and the PQ.